So welcome to the miscellaneous section. This is the first video that I've put in here, so I just wanted to give you kind of a heads up of what to expect, just because it might be a while until I can get all the other videos up, and I want to let you know kind of what to expect for what you might find here, what you might not find here. Sometimes it will be in lesson format, like the video I'm going to do today, and other times it's just going to be something I want to mention. I might also have some really fucking random how-tos because in here instead of the how-to section, because otherwise they're so random that they might muddy up the how-to section. So I might have that in here. I'm not sure how I want to do that yet. We'll see. But really it can be anything that doesn't really nicely fit into a said category that you'll find here. If you're looking at all these different playlists and wondering, well, what about this, what about that, how come they don't have this, how come they're not talking about this, I don't see a playlist for this. Well, just check the miscellaneous section. There might be at least one video that you are looking for in this section. So with that being said, we're going to talk about now the ancient paganism definition, which differs just a little bit from the modern paganism, of what gibberish is and what that compared to an actual ancient tongue meaning. They're two totally separate things, and the first thing I have to tell you is please don't start comparing this stuff to, if you're just now getting your feet wet in this, please don't start comparing this stuff to the Abrahamic beliefs, because those are two completely, totally separate things. So going into this, we'll start out with gibberish one. Long time ago, it used to be called something different. I don't remember. It was so long ago that I don't have knowledge of what that was that it was called. But basically there is an ancient saying, or just kind of, yes, I guess it's kind of a saying, where we call it an old soul remembering, or the old soul remembers, depending on the way you look at this. I wouldn't say that it's wrong to call it gibberish. I just say that it's a more modernized terminology that has a bunch of other stuff added to what it could possibly mean, versus an old soul remembers. I mean, that's pretty, anytime someone did this, that's what people used to say, and that saying has survived, maybe not in full, maybe not what I'm trying to say by, maybe not a lot of people know that saying, but the people who do still know that saying know that saying has survived at least to some level. And it's very Odin, so I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of people, especially in modern paganism, don't know that saying. But if you practice ancient paganism, I'm sure some people out there are familiar, if not a good quantity of what that means. So an old soul remembers, what the fuck does that mean? Well, basically any time that you're doing gibberish, what's really happening, if you do it right, now if you're not doing it right and you're just winging it, and basically you're babbling like a toddler and making up random vowels, and that's not the same. If they start sounding like a babbling toddler, that's not true an old soul remembers. Okay, that's I don't even know what that is. I don't even know what to call that. But true gibberish is someone in an altered state of mind starts speaking the language or languages of their past lives instead of the one that they know, or ones that they know in their present life. They start speaking usually it's a mixture of several different languages, but sometimes it can just be one that they do not know at all in their current life, but that they were taught in a past life. Typically, whatever languages that you start speaking, they're derived from past lives that your soul was very connected to. It's something about that language. It might have been the culture, it might have been just the regular life experiences, it might have been the geographical location that your soul is feels a connection to. But whatever it is, it's been something that your soul has really latched on to for one reason or another. Usually it's, well, never really are you ever going to start speaking a mixture of languages that your soul doesn't have a deep rooted connection to. So those languages in part reveal pieces of who you are, what your soul is made of, the core of who you are. For example, I use it a lot in rituals because English is the only language I know in this life, but that's not that doesn't resonate with my soul very well. The energy of an English language, I don't like it, and it's very difficult for me to speak in English and get the emotion and energy out that's necessary for said ritual. So basically I'll put myself in sort of this half altered state where it wakes up the subconscious part of your soul, the part of your soul that does remember all those different past lives. And I'll just start speaking a mesh of different, usually they're most often than not they're so old of languages that they're not even, I mean, they're dead languages now. Some of them make ancient Latin look like a brand spanking new language. So that being said, I haven't sat there and tried to do any sort of detective work, so to speak, is to see just how many different languages are meshing together, but I can tell that it's more than one, and I can tell that it's the same ones. I can tell that it's got a pattern to it, and basically what happens is the thoughts in your mind, but usually the individual words you do not know. Okay, that means this means that. But whatever the sentence is, that, whatever that rose off your tongue, you have a general idea of what you just said in the form of maybe a sentence. But could you break down word for word what each individual thing means? Could you translate it word from word? Not usually, because you're kind of you've got 1 foot in your past lives and 1 foot in your present life. And so you've got half subconscious, half conscious mind that is working together in this odd, strange harmony. And usually that is all you know, just the general what it means. That's all you really know. And then as soon as you come back and you're no longer in that altered state, as soon as you ground yourself and come back to, the 100% conscious part of your mind, you have absolutely no clue. You forget. You forget basically everything you just said, how it sounded. Not how it. Like if you were asked to say it again, if you were asked to say the same thing again, you could not do it once you took out that altered state away. So that is the main reason why people will do gibberish, because it feels a lot more fluid when you're doing rituals and stuff. If you speak in a language that your soul is actually connected to, and that you can, it doesn't inhibit the energy, versus something like actual ancient tongue, where your ancestors, a lot of times it's your spirit guardians, the guides that are there from the birth to death. Those are the ones I'm talking about. I call them spirit guardians. Other people call them different things. But typically it's someone like that, a very ancestral spirit guide, and it doesn't have to be them, but typically it's somebody like that that is guiding you. Visionary wise, you're listening, and typically most people don't audibly hear it. Some people do. Most people just hear it in their head, and they will tell you exactly how to say it, exactly how to enunciate it. Some things are kind of difficult to enunciate, and if you get it wrong, they'll be exceptionally specific on, you'll have to say it again and again until you get it right. It's exceptionally specific. But basically, these are Odin words, Odin sacred words that you're speaking. And in a lot of modern day, maybe even all modern day languages, you might not be able to, there is no word. You know, there's nothing you can use that has the same amount of energy and power behind it. And you may need those ancient tongues to say those sacred words, because they're in the language that you know, that you're taught in the current life. There's not a word that fits for what you need. So I know some of you are going, because that doesn't make much sense, and I'm not doing a very good job of explaining, but basically it's usually a dead language. And instead of gibberish where you're pulling it from past lives and stuff, and it's a mesh of a bunch of different languages, this is not a mesh of different languages. This is one language. It's almost always a dead language, and it's these sacred words that have absolutely no replacement. Other languages cannot replace the word, and so you have to use that. You have to talk in that ancient tongue, because that is the only word there is for that. When you do kind of rituals and spells and things, you'll find that the words that you say are very important. It's very specific usually. And so that is usually why you would do the ancient tongue stuff. For things that you need that energy, and nothing in modern day language can replace that energy. And because you're being guided, you know, you're listening, and then you're saying what you're told to say, versus gibberish, it just rolls off your tongue. You don't hear anything. You're not being guided. It's just rolling off your tongue randomly as you think thoughts in your mind of what you want to say. So it's that ancient tongue. You do need to have some kind of ancestral guidance for. You need to know that basic skill of how to be guided. Look up the basic skills. There's several different basic skills that you'll need in order to actually accomplish that. But that is basically the difference between gibberish and these ancient tongue things, and why we might use one versus the other.